Hello and welcome to Phil Goes Deep, and it is Hacktoberfest. Hopefully everyone was tuned into the live coding happy hour. Apologies again for the green screen. It's something to do with the lighting situation. I can't figure it out, so in the interest of just trying to get myself a t-shirt and contribute something to the community, I thought I would just run through the code snippets contribution that I've been doing. The audio looks a little bit. Hello and welcome to Phil Goes Deep. And tonight, or today, or yesterday, or this morning, depending where you are, I'm going to be walking through the Hacktoberfest 2021 code snippets contribution that I've been doing. So just going to see what I've built, test it, make sure it works, and demonstrate how maybe you can use this in some of your application designs. Yeah, let's try and get into it. So I thought I'd start with a little bit of just a little design run through, explain what I've been doing. So if you want to know what's going on with Hacktoberfest, then I'll share some links for ServiceNow community, the live code and happy hour, and all of that stuff. But basically, what I've been building is an API model. So, in fact, I'll just show you quickly I forked my repo. Under the script includes, I've got this API model template, and I've got these files. So application core base. So everything I'm doing has got a base. Base is where I've got all my code, and then the endpoints is the script include you'll actually call. So if we just model this out quickly, and then we'll look at I'm going to make a use case up and talk about how you might be able to leverage this into your application design. That's the plan. So we've got application core, example object, example strategy, and I should have called that example engine, to be honest, but we'll just call that engine from now on. So application core, engine, example object. So example object, engine, strategy, example strategy. That's probably over here with the engine. So I think that's basically what I've got. We've got 4 there, so we should have 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Excellent. So each of these has got a base. I'm using Draw.io, by the way. Love this thing. Or Draw.io. I don't know actually how you're supposed to pronounce it, but Draw.io is probably better because it's kind of like a free Visio. So the idea here is, if you're building an application, then your base APIs will be where all of the code is, really. And if you were building a scoped app, you would make these read-only, and then you would extend into these APIs, and they won't be read-only. So you would kind of invite your customers or your consumers into, if you're going to modify the code, modify it here, as a vendor of the application, you're never going to touch these, right? So they won't change. But you've then got freedom to touch these, and that isolates the updates and allows upgrades to be managed in a way that is maintainable. Even if stuff breaks, at least you understand what has changed. Okay, so that's the concept here. So in terms of application core, this is where you can put things that are to be leveraged throughout your application. So things like constants, properties, tables, everything that's kind of common across your application can be defined here. But these allow you to put certain behaviors in. And things like objects, right? If you think about object orientated, you would instantiate this, and it's called example object, but in the kind of use case that I'm thinking of, this would be called, I'm going to call it profile, right? That's the thing that's the idea that I've got in my head. So you would say new profile, and everything about that object is about a profile. This engine strategy model, I don't know if I'm following solid principles here, but you kind of call the engine will then instantiate the relevant strategy. So you can have, if we take the profile scenario, we would have a strategy for, what kind of profile might we have? Let's call it hacker base. Damn it, that would be called hacker strategy base. I don't know what another type of profile might be. I haven't thought that far ahead. But basically you can have, let's call it hacker 1. Hacker 1 and hacker 2. Now, depending on the type of profile you are, the engine will instantiate that one or that one, but it will call a common kind of protocol. So strategy.run. That's the kind of scenario here. So each of these application core, each of these will extend from application core. So you share all of that functionality. You've got kind of common functionality across that. So you put your constants in here, and then these are inherited or extended, whichever way you want to look at it. Yo, I've got a couple of people tuned in. Say Dhruv and Akira. Oh, please include the volume again. Akira, I'm sorry, man. Do you know what it is? It's because I'm trying to avoid the noise. Hopefully, this happened last time, man. I can pick up a bit of noise there, and I don't think that's good. Maybe I need a little bit of background music. How's that, Akira? Is that better? Dhruv's asking me what's the target. So the target is to win a T-shirt for Hacktoberfest 2021. That's my target. But in terms of what I'm going to do tonight, I'm just going to show you what I've built so far. So I've got 3 pull requests currently pending, and I just need to do a 4th one. But I'm doing this in the code snippet. So in code snippets, if we go up to the ServiceNow dev program code snippets, you'll find that I've already got this script includes API model template. So all I'm saying here is, if you're going to build an application, maybe some of this stuff might be worth considering. But I'm just, at the moment, just explaining kind of how to use it. So I'm giving you these objects, put them in green. I'm giving you these objects, but you wouldn't really put, maybe you call application core, those names don't need to change. So these ones we'll put in blue, and these ones are the things that we're actually going to build from. So maybe I'll call these grey, because you're basically going to replace these. So, you know, that's going to become that, for example. How's the volume? Can you just give me a volume check? Sorry, Akira, because I missed the message to start with. Hopefully Akira's still tuned in. But yeah, not covering anything really GRC tonight, but I'm taking a lot of principles from GRC with this kind of base model. And I'm just, off the top of my head, coming up with a use case of how to implement the things that I've built, how to use the code snippets that I've built, because I'd imagine that if somebody goes in there and goes, I mean, there might be a little bit of nice code, but that's basically the stuff I've put in. If we flip over to Visual Studio Code, if we look at my application core base, I've got this concept of getGR. Now, I've used this in a number of different kind of applications that I've built. So, getGR, what's the point of that? I can get a glide record. Well, maybe I should use glide record secure here. That's maybe worth thinking about. So, I'm just going to instantiate the glide record and pass an ID in. Okay, but each time I call getGR, I need to specify the table name. However, within your application, you're going to have very common places that you always call. So, just to give you out of the box functionality, getGRUser is an explicit class. Okay, so I don't need to specify the table name here. I just pass in an ID. So when I call getGRUser, I just get an ID. I just pass an ID, but my user or my table name is stored in my constants. Okay, so what I would do up here is just create my tables, and you know, I'll show this basically in a minute. You put all your tables for your application up here as constants. This is the application core base. They're then available to all of your objects. So you can just say get user, right? I know user is not really the right one because, well, GS get user gets the current user from the session, but if I want to get a glide record of a specific user, then I need the ID. So that's the concept here. Hopefully it's making sense. I don't know. It's quite late on a Friday, and I've already watched Live Coding Happy Hour, and the guys on there were smashing it. And I'm very interested in getting involved in some of the other repos, things like Instant Scan, for example. But I just thought, I've built something, I should probably try and explain how to use it. So the use case is a little bit flaky, to be honest. So in my studio, I've just basically stored, just created this little Hacktoberfest application. I've created a role, I've created a menu. Just because in doing this, what I want to show as well is when you first create a scoped app, there's a little trick that's worth being aware of. If you go to File Settings, this is your application settings. Okay, so every time you create your own brand new scoped application, you should do this. The first thing you should do is create a role, and then you should create a menu. And then thirdly, you should go into your application settings, and in the menu item, you should put your menu here, and your user role will be, these are just defaults, right? I'm going to use SNU Tools keyboard shortcuts. So just in doing those two things, or at least that one thing, setting those two values on your application settings means that when you go and create a new table, which you're going to do a lot of if you're creating a scoped app, automatically it's defined the module, okay, and that saves it creating multiple modules and then trying to tidy them up afterwards or going and clicking. I just want to avoid clicks, so I'm just putting it straight into my module. And then guess what, in my application, in my table controls, my role is automatically populated as well. So that's just a little trick that you can use when you're creating scoped applications. If you start off from the beginning, and I use a fairly common role model in my applications as well, which again, I've taken the idea from GRC. I didn't think of this myself, but it's a common approach that I think should be more common. Reader is inherited into user, is inherited into manager, is inherited into admin. Okay, admin has access to things like all your properties. Reader has all the read ACLs on your system, but user can do most of the stuff, and then manager can have additional access, things like permissions to UI actions to allow things to move through, etc. So I just start off all the time with either a user or a manager, and then I scale down. I go through all the ACLs at the end, change all the read ACLs to a reader, change all the deletes to admin, and allow the create and the write at the user level pretty much. You know, obviously there'll be a little bit of nuance in there, but just doing that up front gives us, I think, a solid ground. So if I was creating multiple tables, I don't have to think about that and click every time. So what this is going to be, I'm going to call this profile. Now, one of the other things that came out recently in a discussion, I think it was on Live Code in Happy Hour, is that you should not extend sys user table. Okay, if you are going to create something that is like a user object, you should create a standalone table and reference the user. So I'm just taking that kind of scenario on the basis that in the out-of-the-box code snippets that I've built, you can easily instantiate a GR user. So I'm just thinking profile, user, kind of plays to a couple of things. So, you know, in profile, well, let's put in here a type. Okay, type will be a type of probably a choice. I mean, you can, I never know whether to do necessarily choice or string, because either way you can fix that up. But let's just call that a type. Type will play into our strategy, okay? Because based on the type of the profile, we're going to instantiate a different type of strategy for that profile. So, and that kind of choice option, if you look at how that's built with the switch statement and so on, that will handle that quite well, and that will be a string field. So let's just go into that type field setting, and our choices will be hacker1 value. Oops, whoops. Too many keyboard shortcuts. Hacker1, hacker2. It's that simple. Drop down choice with none. Mandatory. The other thing we're going to need, so if we update that, the other thing obviously we're going to need is a reference to the user. So if I call this user, I like to make reference fields, if it depends how many types of reference you're going to have to that. So, you know, user can be referenced in multiple places, something like assigned to owner, manager, whatever. If you think of a CMDB table, it will have multiple references to sys user. So that kind of rule doesn't necessarily make sense, but in this scenario, I'm just having a single reference to sys user. If you look at the task table, it's got parent. I feel like parent should always reference the same class. Okay, it should always be the same class. That's not true in tasks. Parent references task. If you're going to reference something explicitly, give it an explicit reference and an explicit name. That's all I'm saying. So type is reference. Reference is going to be sys user. And there's a few of them. Okay, and we will save that. And let's just go and make that mandatory. How's it going, Drew? Hopefully you're safe and well and in London. I was in London a couple of times last week, but I haven't managed to get down there with a little bit of free time. So both times I was limited with my freedoms. But at some point we're going to catch up, man. Definitely. I hope you're doing well. So we've got our fields, we've got our table, and if we go to our menu item now, what did I call it? Hacktoberfest, yeah. So just in here, Hacktober, profiles, boom. My list layout's looking a bit rubbish. Configure, list layout, type will be include user, include updated, include created, created by, updated by. Maybe that will save. Now I'm just wondering, I'm trying to think of a use case, the difference between a hacker 1 and a hacker 2. But if I create a new, my form layout's rubbish as well, because I created the table and then added to it afterwards, but that's fine. There we go. So just creating a bit of data. So what would be a use case for my code? So how to use the code in the first place? We need to import it into the application. So what we'll do, we'll create a script include. And sometimes I feel like Studio isn't the best place to do this, just purely because of the number of clicks. Create application file, that's 1 click. Then I've got to find server development, 2 clicks. Script include, 3 clicks. Create, 4 clicks. Okay, so I feel like that's a bit of a long way round. If I did it in the platform, I could go SI-N, and Arnold's made that a lot easier for me. So, just saying. What we're going to do, if we import this with the existing name, so we're going to take application core base. So we'll paste this in, and we'll take application core base. And that will be read only because it's the core base. Save. Then what we'll do is take application core. Now, if I paste that in, copy that, that all still looks good. I'm going to insert and stay. Let's do engine. I'm just using keyboard shortcuts. Make sure you insert and stay, don't save. Engine base. Ooh, whoa. Copy. Now the reason I want to do, oh, did you see that? I didn't like it. No, that's good. It's alright, application core there. That's fine. Engine base, example object. This is where things are going to get interesting in a moment, because these are examples and these are the things that are going to get replaced. So we just need to get example object base in. Whoops, I'm using the wrong keyboard shortcuts. Just copy these in there and make sure we insert and stay. Anytime I am selecting something, Command and A or Control and A, right? Select all. You haven't got to drag your mouse and hope. Just click in there, Command and A, and then Command and V, paste over it. And just insert and stay. Now I've done that, I'm just going to click back over here. If we look in the studio, just going to close that down. Look what we've got. We've got all of them set up pretty quickly. Didn't take long. So with the right keyboard shortcuts and the right kind of workflow, you can bring those into the into your scope. There's not really, I don't think, any way to import them in because they need to come in with the right. Oh, I've set everything read only. Okay, so now I'm going to go back through. So all the endpoint ones. Let me just refresh these. Sometimes in Studio, when you open them too quickly, they don't load. we want the form to be fully loaded, so I'm just clicking into them and double clicking to reload the form, and hopefully that kicks it off. No, it still didn't like it. If you navigate away before it's loaded, that's no good. So I'm going to change that to none, right? So I only want my base to be read only. I don't want my endpoint to be read only. Because I did an insert and stay, base is good. Yep, want base to be read only, but not our endpoints. Okay, so we've got our example strategy, but this is one of the ones we're going to rename. Okay, example strategy and example strategy base. So this will be called HackerOne strategy base. Now when we change this here, it changes that for us. 1, 2, 3 things get changed at once. So that's what I really like. And if we can basically just grab that bit, save that there, and in example strategy, paste that there, boom, 1, 2, 3 plus 4 all got updated in one go. And then what we can do is go Hacker2 strategy, insert and stay, and Hacker2 strategy base, insert and stay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's just kill these down. We don't need these yet. Application core base we are going to want, because we want to put in here a new table. So this will be C table profile. And one of the reasons for doing this, right, if you always reference your tables as constants in your application, should you ever need to change scope or port your code, you haven't got to go through and update all your table references. You just update them in one place, okay? And that's a lesson learned from a very painful experience I've had in the past. If I go to that table and just copy the name and paste that in there, okay? So I've now got access to that table, and I'll just call it this.gr. And if I copy this method, that's no longer an example, but this will be called getGR profile, and that will be called getTable profile. We haven't got any properties yet, but if we did start to stack up some properties, we can start to name them in here. Probably in the code I should have commented that out, not sure, just to show it's not in use. Default, yeah, noun, you know, I'll just put that in there, noun 1. Call it what you want, replace that. You can delete these if you don't need them. But in my application core now, if I was to go to Explore, I love Explore, you know this. If I go to Hackfest in my scope and say new HackerOne strategy and just instantiate that, it's funny, why I should see, why do I not see all my no properties to display? Interesting. Interesting. Okay, let me try something. If I say strategy dot t c for constants underscore table underscore profile, why? So that comes through application core. What's happened here? Ah, look at that. Application core is not extending. It's extending itself. Got itself in a loop. Okay, so that should. Hopefully that's not like that in the code. Application core. Yeah, it's just the way it replaced itself. That's fine. So if I just get rid of that now. It shouldn't have taken. That shouldn't be taking so long. Ah, because it's fast strategy, right? Strategy. Still not good, is it? Did I save this? Application core extends application core base. Have we got two? Application core extends application core base. Initialize. That should be working, so it's funny that. Undefined. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just debug this a second. New HackerOne strategy. Let's just hit the debugger up. Let's see what's happening. Let me just close these down because I think I've got different sessions in. So let's go into this level. New application core. There we go. Okay, so error converting. Where's that error coming from? But we have got all of our constants. Maybe it's because of null C default noun. So that one's working. That's got initialize. Application core doesn't, but it doesn't need it really. Application core. Let's put that in. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm just going to comment that out because I'm not using that either. But you can see here I've got access to all of these base elements from my application core, so that's good. Initialize toString. Why would it be erroring on toString? That's what I don't understand. Don't think that will make any difference, that space. Type error toString called on. Maybe I've got an error in some of my functions that I haven't actually tested yet. But let's just try this out. So on this profile, if I copy this sysID and say var app equals, and then say app dot get gr profile. I've got my glide record. Okay. HackerOne. You need to check LinkedIn. What's going on LinkedIn? What's going on LinkedIn? Drew. Let's have a look, man. Oh, yes. Love it. Love it, Drew. Thank you, man. Just give me a shout out. Thank you. Let's post the link in now. I'm going to put it in your chat for you. Just for banter. Is the volume all right, Drew? Because I know Akira said this a few times, and other people have said it was all right, and I don't know. I can hear now in my headphones on this. Like I'm getting a bit of clipping. I've got the gain turned all the way up, and I'm getting a lot of noise. So I'm not sure about that. But yeah, look at that. So app.getGrProfile. That's the point. I just pass an ID in. I'm not passing the table in. So when you've got common objects that you're working with in your application and you know what they are, you don't want to have to run a glide record every time. This getGR function that I've built in here in application core base just passes in the table name from the core. I forgot I'm changing it in the studio now. GetGrProfile, we specify the table name. So sweet, good man. Love your setup, by the way. Love your setup, man. How you finding it? How's London? How's life in London? You know, that's a song from 1980, from the 80s, from a group called London Posse. London Posse, Rodney P, one of the first UK rappers to rap in a UK accent, and he's got his group London Posse had a song called How's Life in London, and I believe somewhere I've got it on vinyl. I think I've got it on vinyl somewhere. So one of my proud accomplishments in life. It's amazing. Without giving too much away, Drew, what kind of area are you in? Are you north, east, south, west, or you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer that if you don't want. Be as specific as you like, but just be mindful of your personal data. GetGR. So I've also got this setter, right? So setGR, and we pass in object values. The thing I just want to deal with is the fact that my application core is being extended into, if I take example object here, I'm going to rename this and call this profile. That looks good. I'm just going to rename it. I'm not even going to keep, or should I insert and stay? Let me insert and stay. Keep the example clean. So that was profile example object. I'm going to call this profile base. Make sure it doesn't break any. Yeah, you see how that changed profile base there. So it doesn't quite work every time. You've got to keep an eye on it. Maybe that's what's happened when I was being too quick. I'm going to insert and stay there. Harrow. I think you might have told me that actually. So for initialize, in our example, in our object, we're going to say new profile and pass in either a current. So if I go to that profile and say open record and explore, I'm just going to grab that out because I want to do it in the scope I'm in. This will be var gr profile, and we don't need that right now, and it will be var profile equals new profile gr profile. So we've got an error again. Two strings called on oh mate, I'm gonna come for a coffee. Literally at the moment, like, we're still work from home, that's our policy, but I went out to London last week. I was at the Cloud Excellence Awards. Shout to Automate Pro. They were nominated, and we had a lovely dinner and a few drinks. And then on Saturday I was at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the Joshua Usyk fight, and that was crazy, man. That was crazy. So yeah, I didn't have. There was no bandwidth either side of that to give you a shout, man. But hopefully in the next few weeks, sometime I'm going to be back down there, maybe for some drinks with the team, and no dates are set yet. But maybe if I can, I'll give you a shout, and yeah, we can meet up for coffee, beer, whatever. But I'm not working from the office at the moment still. I've obviously got some errors in here. Not sure what's going on. GR record. So look at this. GR record is my profile. So I've instantiated that. So I've passed in GR profile, but that is this GR record. So that means within my application, that's worked. Just not sure why it keeps throwing that error message. Let's have a look. Let's hit the debugger again. We're on and we run. Debugger should kick in. Let's see where we might be getting an error. So we're in profile base. I've got this init function, right? Private init. And all I'm saying here is, you know, your initialize is right at the top of your methods normally. You want to keep that kind of tidy. You don't want loads going on. If you start using lots of complexity to instantiate your classes, just abstract that. You don't have to put it all in here. You can just pass it off to another function. And in your init function, or however you call it, you can then abstract even further, right? And create init sub methods. So we're down here anyway. If type of glide record equals object. Yeah, man. Do you know what? I've written this code off the kind of top of my head. I did look in a couple of places just to check, but I haven't tested this. So the fact I've got one error is not too bad. This record equals. Yeah, that returns nicely. So what's wrong with? Why is it getting the error? I don't understand why it's throwing this error out of error converting to string type error method to string called on it. It's something, some kind of. I have seen that error before. Can't think where it's coming from. All I'm trying to do here is give a bit of a framework. So if I have got two different objects, so in my hacker1 strategy and hacker2 strategy, let's just show these. Refresh in here. So in my run, I'm going to just in here gs.add info message. Hacker strategy. What would come in there? We'd probably pass in the glide record. So this will be. Let's call this as the GR profile coming in. GR profile and say. gs.get message hello worldly person, you are a type of. Let's do that, and then we'll pass in gr profile dot get value type, and then there gr profile dot get table name, no, get class display. Is it class display name? Might be making that up. Try storing object value into a variable. Seems like an issue with if type of. I'm going to have a look at that back in a second. Let's just, I'm trying to think, right? This just looks too reusable. So if I one type, I want a different message to a different type. That's basically what I'm going to do. So if I save that, and then in the same here, let's make this an unworldly person. Unworldly person. Same message. And then, so that's our strategy. We've got our two strategies, and we're saying basically on this type, we're largely the same, and you could have an abstract strategy that gets extended in. So what I mean by that is you could create a kind of maybe that's what I should have done, abstract strategy there. And what you would do is bring these down a bit and move these up. And inherit these from your abstract strategy. So you've got kind of common strategic behavior. Use case for that in GRC, you've got abstract indicator strategy, and then you've got manual indicator, basic indicator, scripted indicator. Okay, so a lot of the core is the same, but then you've got nuanced behavior in here for the specifics. So maybe we should have implemented something like that. However, we've got our strategy. What we now need to do is just plug our engine in. So in our engine base process, this gets strategy. So in our instantiation, engine will be gr record. I want to just, yeah, this is why application core base, I put it into example object base. I think this might actually belong in core. Not sure. You can mull around with this however you want. I'm just going to copy it into our engine base. That's probably easier. And then copy in the init function as well. Boom, boom, boom. Just put these in here. Get rid of these template messages. I wonder if it's that. If no init return. That seemed to work though. I think it might be maybe that was causing problems. Just tidy that up. We don't need to do that because we don't have any dependent behavior. Just pass that into this gr record. So engine base, this gr record. When we process this strategy, get strategy will be var string type equals this dot gr record dot get value type or string. Get value returns null if it's empty, which is a bit annoying, so I always throw a default and make sure it's a string. I want it to be a string. I've said it's a string. It's going to be a string. So in here we've got a switch statement, and we will case this off and say case hacker1. Maybe that's why. Oh no, because I've never called the engine. Okay, fine, ignore me. Not that you want already. So that will be hacker1 will be new hacker1 strategy, and then hacker2 return hacker2 strategy. I'm just going to get rid of the default because that can't instantiate. String type blah blah blah, strategy.run, boom boom boom. So we're going to pass it in on new engine, so it'll be engine.process, and we just need another option here, insert and stay, and call this hacker2. So in my profiles, hacker1 copy sysid, this will be hacker2 ID, and grab that one, copy sysid, explore. Call that profile 1, call that profile 2. Do that 1. Oops. So new engine gr profile 1 should be worldly. Nothing happened. New engine dot process. I didn't get an error though, that's nice. Cannot find function. Just remembered that off the top of my head. Oh, process is there. Oh, engine base. I see, this is where I was too quick. I want to change things. That's probably why I didn't get an error. Save that. Yeah, just watch when it auto updates some of these things. And cannot find get message. What have I done? What have I done there? That's in the strategy though. It has instantiated the strategy. Boom, boom, boom. Let's just blow this up. gs.getMessage. What's the error? Cannot find function getMessage in object. In object. Line 32. That's probably where we're calling it out. For the get run. Get that's not right. Get class display name. Where can I? Let's just create a class quickly. Var gr equals new glide rec. I'm not really going to do this. Gr dot get class display value. I think it's that. That's what's going wrong. What strategy are we in? Hacker strategy 2. Boom, boom, boom. I think it's that. If it's not that, then we'll have to dig a bit deeper. Still can't find. Man. Dun dun dun. Let's go to the engine base and hit the process. Hit the debugger. So we're in the process. Step through this. String type, hacker1, that's good. Bar strategy, get strategy, string type still hacker1, switch. We're good, we're in hacker1. Return new hacker1 strategy. Let's just check in the studio. Hacker1 strategy, I'm guessing. That looks okay. It got to the message. So it's returned the object now, it's instantiated, and then we're going to call it. What error is that there? That's no fun, is it? So it's hitting return strategy dot run hacker1 strategy dot run does not like gs dot get message. Let me just test this. Let me just test this function here. Seems to be where this is going wrong. Okay, it's some sort of scope privilege issue. Still getting this error message. Why? Why? It's doing the same thing. I think I know what it is. We're coming in here, gr profile, initialize. I'm not passing it into run. Damn it. In the initialize in here, I haven't done anything with it. So this dot gr profile equals gr profile. Right? And then that's what it is. I think that's what it is. That's where an abstract strategy would be useful, because you might instantiate all your strategies exactly the same way. Yeah, this one doesn't even get initialized there. Obviously, I'm rushing this through, and I don't really have a use case, to be honest. I'm just trying to make something. It's still not working. Not happy about that. Process. I'm not passing it into the strategy. That's what it is. Okay, so in my engine, in here, I'm not passing in this in it. Boom, boom, boom. This.gr record. That's why. There and there. Right. Last go? Or not? We'll keep going probably if it don't work. It still don't work. Come on. It's got to be what it is. Did I save it? Put the debugger back on. I feel like developers are like gamblers, you know. One more go. Just one more. Just one more. So we've got hacker1 there. The type's good. this .gr record is, I can't see it in, should see it in here. GR, once we enter here, it doesn't like it. Return new, boom boom boom. I don't know why it doesn't like that. Man, I can't believe I've contributed something to the Hacktoberfest that's not actually working. It's there or thereabouts. That is good. Why is that being a problem? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll call this here, just for debugging purposes, this .gr record. And make sure that that's going in nicely. Because that's the only thing with the debugger. You can't see stuff on the prototype. What GR record? It's legit. Not until I hit run, it just caches out. Okay. I had this recently where I was trying to do a try catch, and try catch was catching me out. So let's comment that and comment that. Didn't click the wrong thing. Where's my try catch gone? There. Let's just see if it's try catch. If I might be doing try catch wrong. Ah, that's what it is. The get message. Oh man, that error message. Cannot find function get message in object. It's because I've got to get message. Look, it's that. It's get message there. Cannot find function run in object. That's fine now. We can cope with not being able to find function run. That's nice that you click that and you get the error. Thanks, James. Line 30. Where did we go? Oh, it opened up, didn't it? Yeah, line 30. Strategy.run. Come off it. In the strategy. Right there, function. Oh, my neck's starting to hurt. Look at this. It's the bloody... Oops, I'm swearing. Don't swear on TV. It's this, isn't it? It's caught me out again. Ah, it's caught me out again. It's those name replaces. I know, but that's only Hacker Strategy 2. Hacker Strategy 1. No, it's done it here. Man. Okay, so you've got to watch that when we place. I was just very careless there. Wasted a lot of time on something. If I'd have just took a few more moments. There we go. Jesus. Right, so. New engine. Excuse me. New engine GR profile. 1 was hello worldly person. Hello unworldly person. So basically, whatever you pass into your engine, process it. It will handle it differently based on the strategy. That's the idea. I haven't brought this abstract strategy into it. That's basically it. That's what I've built. Let me know what you think. Thanks for tuning in. I know there's been a few people getting involved. Drew, you're an absolute legend for joining. You're also a legend for sharing it. And yeah, Google Hall of Famer. Man, I've got a Google Hall of Famer live on the show. Drew, if you're up for it, I'll jump on a Zoom quickly and just come and say hello. It's up to you, mate. Let me know if you're up for it, and I'll ping you a little Zoom ID or something. Come see me what you think. What else can we do? Yeah, I think abstract strategy is not a bad idea to introduce. Just save that. Bit of documentation. Drew's gone to bed. Yeah, so think about different use cases you could apply this to. In the code snippets, I'm gonna share this Git repo. What else should I share on the on here? How to use the API model, code snippets, sndevs dot no snlinks.com/Oktoberfest 2021. No, snlink.dev, snlink.dev, snlinks.dev. I can't remember the URL, the short URL. Oh, rubbish, aren't I? Just save that quickly. Yeah, man, let's wrap it up. It's late here. Well, thanks to everyone for tuning in tonight, or this morning, or if you're watching it back. Hopefully this is useful just to let you know how to use the thing that I was thinking about building. It's not perfect, but it might get you started. It might give you an idea if you're about to build an application, and even if you only need some central functions, constants and properties, etc., you can just use the core bit. If you are, and I'd imagine that you are always going to have some kind of object functionality, you should consider building that in. Notice that one thing I didn't put into my script includes there was any kind of utils. Effectively, I think the utils is in the application core, although I'm not saying there's no space for utils, but it should be the kind of, I don't know where they fit in. I don't know. Utils, I'm not totally against them, but they shouldn't be the answer to everything. You've got the engine and the strategy. Any kind of developer out there that knows their stuff more than I do, please tell me if I'm doing something wrong there. I'm making it up as I go along, basically. It's not because I studied computer science and I'm telling people that's how to do a strategy pattern. I have seen it implemented and I thought, that's nice, I could do the same thing. That does apply. So happy to take feedback on anything that you've seen, and even better, go to Hacktoberfest. Go to developer.servicenow.com. Go to the blogs. Check out the Hacktoberfest pages. Sign up and get contributing to the repo. And if you think there's something that's not right in there, or you've got some ideas, then just get in there, contribute. If you do 4 pull requests in the month of October, you could win a t-shirt, which comes with some serious bragging rights. Okay, I think it's late enough. We've done enough tonight. I'm very happy with the progress made so far. Got a couple of little things to fix, but next kind of pull request, I might try and do an instant scan contribution and syntax macros as well, and maybe we'll do a live stream on syntax macros, because I think that's something that's worth watching. Any final shouts? Anything to plug? Take care. Stay safe. Thank you.